Some 100,000 planned communities now wind their way through this country with mountains of regulations.
No statues on front lawns. No unapproved paint schemes.
Limits must have their limits. That's why the freedom to question is essential.
2 open garage doors. Do we have a rebellion on our hands?
The historic question that birthed our democracy. Whose country is it, anyway? In Virginia's House of Burgesses, Thomas Jefferson's words echo. Can anyone reason why 160,000 electors in the island of Great Britain should give law to 4 million in the state of America, every individual of whom is equal to every individual of them in virtue, in understanding, and in bodily strength? Jefferson, with Patrick Henry, Richard and Francis Lee, Dabney Carr, felt that other colonists must see the issue as clearly as did they. Was it to be British authority or American rights? They continue their talk, the currency of every democracy, at the Raleigh Tavern. Freedom craves company. They compare notes of other confrontations, propose a free flow of timely information, start a revolution built on words.
As I was saying to Patrick earlier, I believe it would be in our best interest to form a group of deputies at some central place.
The Committee of Correspondence would be our best instrument for intercommunication.
We could show a unity of action throughout the colony.
Gentlemen, I do not want to read about the Gaspé incident in the Virginia Gazette. I want to hear about it directly from one of our friends in Rhode Island.
And we need to let the Bostonians know that we feel the same as they do.
Exactly.
A committee.
A committee. Here, here.
One of Maine's largest industries and the symbol of its rugged independence is lobstering. But will there always be enough lobsters? Overfishing could wipe out the industry and with it, a way of life.
If I was working for someone else, I'd know I'd have an easy day painting or something like that inside, nice and warm next to a stove or something. I gave that up to go out and eat salt water all day and freeze to death. And it's kind of strange. I have to ask myself why I did it every once in a while, but when I get out there and I get a good haul and come home, sell my lobsters and go home, I feel great. There's nothing like it.
It's becoming more and more difficult for people to pursue that kind of lifestyle. There are an awful lot of forces working against them, if you will, to be able to remain an independent portion of the economy.
With their future in question, Maine's lobstermen gather to plead their case. The state has proposed new rules and limits.
Good evening. Could everyone grab a seat here so we can get going? It's good to see so many people here. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Bill Brennan. I'm the Commissioner of Maine's Department of Marine Resources. I'm also a member of the New England Fisheries Management Council. We'll be conducting this public hearing tonight. I'd like to stress that this is participatory democracy, and so throughout this public hearing, I would really be encouraging all of you to come up here and speak.
There's no question in my mind that we need a moratorium. We've been deemed overfished. We don't need more effort put on the resource by more people in.
If you're going on a quota system, there's no way to enforce it.
And I can't understand why gentlemen of a council would jeopardize us fishermen into putting another increase on our lobsters in the measurement and turn around and lose more market.
We, the fishermen, have been failing.
Pioneers came to blows in America's West over how to share the land. The conflict in the Northeast is how to share the fishing grounds.
Let's face it, the fisheries really is the last bastion of open range. But there really has never been any property right assignments, and fishermen feel very strongly about that, and who gets access and how access is maintained.
Boats called draggers work the international waters off the coast of Maine. They pull huge nets across the ocean bottom, scooping up lobsters along with everything else. Season after season, traditional lobstermen work within measured limits to preserve their precious crop.
The technology for trapping really hasn't changed in 200 years. It's, you know, pretty basic. You put bait in the trap, you throw the trap overboard where you think there's some lobsters, and if the lobsters go in, you catch them. You're targeting a certain size. These vents in the traps here, as you can see in the back, they let out the juveniles, and the lobsters go in, they have a free meal, and they go back out. Obviously, you can't catch real big lobsters, which we feel in Maine and is the conservation ethic that we want to see reproduce the stock. What we do is we have a 5-inch maximum, and roughly that translates to about a 4.5-pound lobster. Anything over that, we throw back.
A lobster fisherman is a territorial fisherman. He sets his trap there and it stays there. And a dragger fisherman is not. He tows through the bottom. 10 minutes after he leaves, another dragger comes through the same bottom. It catches fish.
Canada, they had the best fishing in the world off the Grand Banks and off Newfoundland. As soon as dragging started and they were able to go in with nets and catch large volumes of fish, in 30 years, they decimated the resource that had lasted for 400 years.
If you talk to some of the old-time lobstermen, they'll say the same thing. I only fished with 500 pots. Now I have a guy alongside of me fishing with 5,000 pots, and how can I compete with him?
We don't need them in the lobster industry to do the same thing to us when we're trying to conserve the stocks and build up the stocks for the future. We don't need draggers taking them. If they want to go lobstering and they've got a permit, let them go.
They both want to be in the same place at the same time because that's where their resource is, but they do not work well together.
The offshore lobsterman wants the whole bottom there is. He's got to decide that, hey, I can't set 1,000 pots. I can't set 5,000 pots. We've got to divide the ocean up between us because we all have a right to be there.
We've had agreements where they would set in one area, we would fish in another area. Them agreements have gone by the wayside.
I don't see an easy answer. I mean, we feel we're right, they feel they're right.
If we're not going to work together, we're going to have war.
Are we doomed to overfish the ocean in the name of individual liberty and survival? Or can we coordinate the use of our resources to preserve what we hold in common?
We're on the 3rd year going downhill, and I'll just hang with it as long as I can, and when I can't make enough to feed my family, then I'll just have to go ashore.
In our democracy, freedom circles through our lives. We fight to explore, we gather to question, we set and reset our limits, and chase our dreams. At the San Francisco School of Circus Arts, a new student is about to fly for the first time.
I guess I see democracy as freedom. I equate democracy with freedom. If you don't push yourself, push that envelope, try something that you didn't think you could do, you'll never know that you could have.
Freedom is risk. Freedom is trust. Freedom almost always requires something of us.
Ready, go. When I say the word have, I want you to let go and just drop on your seat. Okay, then hold on to your safety lines then. Grab your safety lines.
Maybe our most precious freedom is the freedom to fail. It lets us try again.